You're stretching the muscle fibers, allowing them to break down, and then you're contracting them, you're squeezing them, causing more blood to come in, and then you're sore and your muscles repair faster and harder to say, hey, we don't want to feel that again, so we're going to get bigger. What is going on, my friends? Welcome back to another Thursday, another morning takeaway podcast. This is my first ever podcast in the new house. And Juju's hanging out right here on the couch. Juju, hey, what's up, buddy? What's going on? So, anyways, this is not going to be the permanent kind of setup. This is just kind of makeshift for now. And especially before I give you the full YouTube video, part 2 of why I moved out and what the final product is. As you can tell, stuff still isn't on the walls, but it's coming together. It's feeling good. I guess I'm, 4 days in? I don't know. I'm loving it. Juju's chilling. And I wanted to come on here really quick. And I'm straight off the bike. I actually just threw a hat on because I was sweaty. I'm gonna go jump in the ocean after this. But I wanted to address something. I'm not sure if you follow me on Facebook, but I put a post out, I guess yesterday, titled, "How many sit-ups do you do in a day?" And that's gonna be kind of the premise of this podcast. Whether, we're talking about diet, nutrition, my workout regime, whatever it is, I kind of want to address that question and also go through a little takeaway that I had yesterday in the gym, just kind of show you or share my little mental takeaway, because that's what this podcast was made on, was the takeaway, right? All my motivational, I guess, just takeaways after exercise, really, and the thoughts that come to my brain when the endorphins are going crazy, right? So before we get into it, if you don't mind, if you're not subscribed already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Comment after this video is over what you thought. Maybe I say something you didn't know, especially when it pertains to abs or my takeaway, whatever it might be. If you're able to take something away from it, that is ultimately why I made this podcast as well, right? It's like I say it all the time. If somebody was able to get on a camera and a microphone and say something to change my life on YouTube, if I can say something on a camera and a microphone and potentially have the impact on anybody, then I am fulfilled. And if I do, if you wouldn't mind sharing this, because that is the biggest and easiest way that you can repay me. And without going on too much of a tangent with my YouTube sales pitch, I want to jump right into it. So, how many sit-ups do you do in a day? Was a question that I got on my app the other day. And I think I probably got this question because my app, the way I program my workouts, my philosophy, I'm not very ab isolated focused. I don't really program like, hey, we're gonna start off with 3 sets of 20 on strictly abs. Now, yes, I do, well, here and there, like I post on Instagram, incorporate those 3 sets of 15 to 20 reps of crazy different moves and cable training and whatever. But those are kind of like on maybe a fun day, like a Saturday. And when you're training your abs like that, it's just like a bicep. You're just training the same way that you would train your biceps for them to grow or get more defined or whatever that is, right? So, and there's different exercises that you can hit different areas of your core. And if you have questions on that, let me know, because I love talking about this stuff, especially when it comes to the core. But my answer to this question was 0. And that's the honest answer. I don't program sit-ups in. Now, in my program, transparently right now, I have a decline rotational overhead crunch type deal. So you're on a decline bench, you come up and you punch with the opposite side of a barbell. Now we're getting a little bit more isolated work with our shoulders, with stability and strength in there as well. So I'm working a couple different things in areas of the core as well, but it's not strictly sit-ups. And a lot of these like fitness protocols out there will preach to you and get you to buy a by my 55-day abs, and like that's fun. I'm actually going to run a challenge. It's like, I think it's 66 days of abs, and that will help it. The way I will program it with high intensity kind of exercise, even jumping jacks, like getting the spike in the heart rate, that will help supplement it with your resistance training. So where I was going with this is the fact that those programs that'll say, hey, abs in 30 days, it's probably, I'm not going to say it's not possible, but I guarantee you it's not, it's probably, unless this person knows their stuff and is a surgeon, they're probably not able to get you abs in 30 days. It's just really not like the most honest thing, I guess, to put out there when there's so many philosophies on abs, and that's what I want to dive into. So I don't program sit-ups. There's people out there that will go in there and say, hey, do 100 sit-ups a day, and that will help. Muscle memory, putting time under tension on your core, like that is going to help, yes, and you're probably going to get sore, cramp up a little in your abs, but a crunch and a sit-up is the same idea as the curl, right? You're really gonna, you ever seen those people with big blocky abs, kind of like, I don't want to like call out the CrossFit community, but because those people look great, but generally like that's kind of how their abs look, are nice and blocky, and like they look good, but that's because of the eccentric and concentric contractions of your core, right? So you're stretching the muscle fibers, allowing them to break down, and then you're contracting them, you're squeezing them, causing more blood to come in, and then you're sore and your muscles repair faster and harder to say, hey, we don't want to feel that again, so we're going to get bigger and protect ourselves, right? And then you try to maintain that muscle, right? That's kind of where it gets into like the cutting versus bulking and yada yada, but we're talking about the core. So my own philosophy, and I've talked about this on other podcasts, but I just wanted to really break it down from a level of where I'm at right now, especially because I'm really high on my intensity. But my main thing is this: 70 to 80% of your core is going to come from nutrition. Eat whole foods. Make your plate colorful. Make sure those foods come straight from the ground. They are coming from the earth. I've talked about this before. If you are eating things in boxes or wrappers, they probably have way too many ingredients, which is another thing. If you look at an ingredient label and it has a bunch of ingredients, take a rice cake. If you look at a rice cake and it's a lightly salted original rice cake, there's probably like 3 ingredients in it. It's organic something rice and maybe 3 ingredients, 3 and 4. Then you take a caramelized rice cake and you look at all the ingredients. Which one's probably going to have more ingredients? This one. It probably has 14 ingredients in it. We know which one is better. Whole nother podcast. But with that said, you want to focus on these foods, whether they're grown, they're homegrown, they're organic. If you think about the grocery store, stay on the outer layer. Generally, that's where all the produce is. It's the meats, it's the dairy, it's the whatever it might be that really just comes from the earth. And those are the best for you. It's 70 to 80%. Drink a lot of water. That's part of your nutrition. And then the other 20 to 30% is programming and recovery. And sleep is a big one. We won't dive too much into it. I've talked about that before. And if you want more resources to look up Dr. Matt Walker and then Andrew Huberman. He has a great podcast as well. But Dr. Matt Walker, he's from Berkeley. He is a wizard when it comes to sleep. A lot of fun to listen to, especially if you're interested in melatonin. That's a big topic, which, hey, if you want to learn about melatonin, let me know, and I'll do a podcast on it too from the research that I've done. Anywho, the other side is the programming. And for me, it is utilizing your legs, utilizing your full body, and there's back and forth, philosophies that come with this. That's, like I said on the podcast the other day, somebody was like, oh, why do you do full body every day? Well, if you think about your body mass, the majority of your musculature is in your lower half, in your lower body. And a lot of your bodily processes are gonna start from your lower half. What is gravity doing? Gravity is constantly driving those bodily processes down. When it rains, where does the rain go? To the ground. Well, think of it just the same with your body. Where are all your hormones going? Where is everything going? Into your feet. If you're feeling really tired and groggy or whatever, do an inversion table. See how crazy that makes you feel. Make the blood rush back up to your head. You feel awake, you feel alive. It's the same idea, right? Everything's starting in our legs. So incorporating high intensity training, not necessarily HIIT training, which is also great if your joints can handle it, but also, you know, making sure that whatever you are doing is igniting the processes full body wise, right? So what do I mean by that? If I'm doing a goblet squat, I'm holding with my upper body, I'm engaging probably my shoulders and my core. Everything you can make is a core. You can make every exercise a core exercise. If you do this one thing, do this one thing for me. In your chair, standing up, just squeeze your butt cheeks. When you squeeze your butt cheeks, you feel your pelvis tilt, and then you feel that bottom of your core engage. Think about that when you're doing any exercise, and you can make it a core exercise. Just a simple, small tip. But moving forward, just with more of my philosophy, training unilaterally, what does that mean? Single-sided movements. It gives you more the opposite side, like I like to do right now in my program. I'm doing a single arm chest press. Well, when I'm doing a 90-pound dumbbell in my right hand, with this hand, I'm holding a fist right above because I'm creating a core that's gonna be down into my lat and my core. I can feel my core tensing up right now just by squeezing my fist. You'll see me a lot of times when I'm doing an overhead press with single arms. My fist is out to the side. I'm doing the same thing. I'm creating force. If it's loose, you're more unstable. You're getting a contraction. So there's different ways that we can go about it, and some of these workouts that I'm putting out on YouTube are really good for this as well, like the high intensity stuff that we're just doing body weight exercises. Those are great for core work because you're utilizing your shoulders as a stability mechanism. You're stabilizing your trunk and utilizing everything in a plank. You're holding your elbows, your fists, and your toes and your whole backside of your body, squeezing your butt cheeks again to keep that core tight. Everything is working, right? So think about this in the sense of just your full body workouts as a whole. One of the best things you can do for your obliques is a lateral plank. Great. Side plank, that's kind of that love handles area. So I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here, but the answer to my question is how many sit-ups do you do a day is 0. And I think that pretty much covers what I wanted to get out. If you want to check out that podcast or the Facebook post, I put a couple pictures of my meals, just super green and colorful and kind of what I eat. Good macros in there as well. And yeah, I mean, it'll provide you a little more insight. And I would love to talk about this in the comments with you if you have questions. But I want to also share my little takeaway from yesterday. We were working out and I noticed like it's day whatever. I'm on week 4 of my 5-week program. And the first week is always easy, right? It's day 1, 2, and 3. It's fresh. It's easy to get going. But what happens in weeks 3 and 4? Week 5 is the best one, like, right? The last week you see the light at the end of the tunnel. You're there. You're about to finish it. And it's exciting. What about those middle weeks, those middle days? How do you get through the repetitiveness and hold that focus, right? So yesterday I'm working out and I notice, hey, you're not holding the reps for 2 seconds like the program says. And what is that? That is attention to detail. And I want to share a text message with you that I sent to one of my friends that was my intention for yesterday when I was talking about it. So be fast to the moment, be slow in the moment, not the opposite. The opposite eliminates attention to detail. It eliminates presence. Presence creates momentum. And what's the root word of momentum? Moment. Be slow in the moment. So, like I said, that's just a simple little example, and I kind of felt like Aristotle right there. That was kind of cool. But with that said, you want to be slow, you want to be fast to and slow through. And how does that relate to anything in life? Well, in your workouts, if the program says something, you do it. A lot of people will start a program and they're like, oh, I'm not seeing results, whatever. Well, hey, be patient. You're not going to see results in 2 weeks. You're going to feel results. You're probably going to feel way better, especially if you're staying consistent. And if the program says to do something, do it all, right? It's that simple. The program is strategically designed for you to eventually get results. It's a process. It's so cliche, but it is. And if you do the things that you're told to do the way you're supposed to do them, chances are they're probably going to work out. If you miss out on one thing every single week, well, now you just missed out on 5 weeks worth of an exercise. That compounds. And I think that's the point I'm trying to get at with it being attention to detail, right? If I missed out on this one day yesterday of those 2-second holds, well, hey, I just did myself a disservice in this program because I'm training a different way than I have been the last 3 weeks, and then I'm just going to skip a week, right? It doesn't compound the right way. So whether that's in life and taking out the trash, it's taking care of the little things, the attention to details things in conversation. Listen to people when they talk, and take in what they're trying to say to you, so that you can have a conversation that is constructive. It's, the same idea that builds our relationships. It helps with our friendships. In the financial world, if there's a goal that you're reaching for and you want to get a promotion, well, pay attention to detail. What's going to get you there? Who around you is doing the right things that has maybe gotten that promotion, or whatever it is, right? And that attention to detail factor it just goes so far in life. And I think I've said this before. My community college baseball coach, before I went to Austin Peay, was talking about, he would always make sure that the dugout was better than you found it. So what does that mean? We would usually pick up all of the trash, even if when we got there was trash in the dugout before. And that's just holding yourself to a different level of attention to detail, which is ultimately a value that creates your standard, and that creates your identity. Who do you want to become? And I think that's how I'm going to wrap this thing up. That was my takeaway from yesterday. I ended up doing the reps with 2 seconds, and it felt great. And to be able to be self-aware in that moment, it feels good, right? So I'm going to end this thing with a little random question generator. What's the story behind one of your scars? Ooh, I have a couple. So I have one on my eyebrow that was from playing football in an apartment when I was like 8. And then I smacked it on the corner of a table. I have one on my knee. There's actually one you guys can probably see on Instagram on my thigh right now. I spilt burning hot coconut oil on my leg, and it's a scar now. And there's another one on my knee. I was on my way to an activity at a family camp, and literally the activity was at the extreme bike ride. And I was on my way on my bike, and I blew out, smoked my knee on the gravel, and it hurt so bad that I got up, I don't know if you've ever seen Talladega Nights. It was screaming. I was in shock, walking around screaming, that scene where Will Ferrell stabs himself in the leg or something and runs around the racetrack. Anyways, that's what I felt like. I had distinct memory. And next thing you know, we were in the middle of nowhere, and then I was in a hospital and morphine getting stitches. So anyways, that's a little quick story for you. And that's how we'll wrap this thing up. So I hope you took something away. Hope you got something out of it from the physical side and training your core, and maybe the idea behind doing sit-ups. And not that sit-ups are bad, right? They will help. But this is my philosophy. This is how I train. And that was my honest answer to this great question that was asked on my app. And I hope you took something away from having attention to detail. So like I said, if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe, hit the bell icon so you're the first one to see these videos when they come out. I greatly appreciate you watching, taking these videos in every single week. It's a lot of fun to put them out every week. YouTube's a whole different beast than Instagram and TikTok and everything. And I genuinely enjoy it because it's one take and being myself, talking, hanging out with the camera. So that said, We'll wrap this thing up. I think I've said that 1,743 times. So I hope you have an awesome freaking day, and don't forget to smile.